This time on the show, USB Rubber Duckies, driver backups, the Nano Note, and more. I'm Shannon Morse, and you are watching Hak5.
Yeah, hook me up, I'm ready.
This episode of Hak5 is brought to you by Squarespace, Domain.com. Got a great idea? It all starts with a great domain, Domain.com, and GoToAssist Express, remote support made easy.
Paul, you ready to make 100 people really happy on this episode of Hak5?
Only 100 people.
Well, I only got 100. You'll have to stick around and find out what I'm talking about. But yeah, don't fast forward now. It's about to get good. We've got awesome stuff coming up in this show.
What do we got?
Well, Shannon has a bunch of cool stuff about ways to make your... You don't care. It's Windows PC stuff.
Yeah, Windows.
But you have to deal with that stuff at work, right?
It doesn't make my job easier is the important thing.
Well, backing up drivers is kind of an important thing when, you know, they inevitably lose their driver disks, and then you guys, I don't know if you have some sort of back-end repository.
So when we're moving from XP to 7 and it somehow doesn't work on their system and we have to give them their computer back?
More like you're reformatting your box and you're like, where's the driver for this esoteric webcam? Oh, that's right. I installed it and threw it away.
Well,
Time to get another $5 one from China.
You can get the Microsoft $50 one.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
It destroys your processor now.
You want to talk about cams for a second? I just picked
oh yeah,
up,
I love this.
This is the Movie Micro. They actually make a smaller one, the Movie Nano. But this is a VGA camera that just shoots to micro SD, and you know, 8 gig max. You can just pop one of these in there and record for about 3 hours before the battery dies. It has an interesting feature where it's got this mode where you can turn on and off the recording based on sound.
Yeah.
Turns out it's based on like a certain decibel. That decibel is the same amount of volume it takes to flip the switch to the on position. So by activating the feature, it cuts on. So it's really just another record button.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's camera design.
I threw a little Velcro on it, and the nice thing is it just sits here in the corner.
Yeah, I remember you showed me footage when it was the other way.
Well, yeah, because my other cam, you know, kind of sits like up here, and I don't like that. I mean, that's good for like narration. This one, the audio is crap, but it just for, you know, getting some video, and it doesn't, you can't see in your peripheral vision.
Yeah.
So so the idea is on the Hack Across America, I'll just pop this in, hit record, let it record for 3 hours, and if a cow gets abducted, I've got it! Because you know cows be getting abducted in Kansas.
Kansas? I thought that was supposed to be like Montana.
I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to Montana. That depends on Seattle. Right. Seattle's still an iffy. Well, we get to Roswell, New Mexico, and then it's, do I shoot up or do I go to San Diego?
Shoot up like into space?
No, shoot up to like Wyoming and then
because they have the speed of light
Montana.
limit out there.
Yeah, I gotta get some shots of that. Anyway, hackacrossamerica.com for that. This is the Movie Micro. The Atom's even smaller, about $60, and I think it's pretty cool.
As far as speaking off of hardware, Rob has
what
is it, some sort of zip-it alternative?
Yeah, it's about $100 and it runs OpenWRT, and Shannon and I panned it for not having Wi-Fi.
Yeah, I would pan it too.
Well, Rob's working on it. He's got some interesting stuff planned with this device that I can't wait.
Does it have Bluetooth, anything?
No, but it's OpenWRT and it's got 2 gigs of storage.
That just sounds weird because it's
OpenWRT.
Why doesn't it have Wi-Fi then?
I don't know. It's kind of weird to think about. I think OpenWRT, I think wireless router, I think Pineapple, but I don't think device that you would... Yeah, I don't... Anyway. No, the USB, the cable... I'll let Mubix get into it. But anyway, very cool stuff. I know that you guys have been clamoring for some interesting reviews of it. Rob's got that, and then hopefully we'll see some more interesting things down the line with that. And it's good to have him on the show.
Yeah.
This is great. We got Jason with the remote cam thing. We've got HD cam over to Rob now, Mubix, and just shipped one up north.
Yeah, the Gen.
Yeah, so that'd be awesome.
It's great. We're seeing everybody in the cast again.
Season 7 is working. Come on, baby, hold together. Just got to get settled into SF, and then, you know, and then epicness. So quit your whining, make it happen.
Yeah. I got an iPad.
I know, this is your month of toys. What's the deal?
I've been watching the iPhone dev team. I'm waiting until I can get my hands on what Comex was doing, but you can jailbreak this thing.
Oh, already?
Yeah.
So is it like alpha stuff, or tell me about it? I haven't read anything about it.
It's essentially the same thing as the iPhone. It's right along the same line.
You go to a website, it loads up a TIFF, and you're
you have to still probably, I think, download something like Black Rain, but maybe not on the same level. I've only slightly read about it.
Yeah. You got to do it on the show for us, dude. We got to see this thing unlocked.
Hell yeah.
Because I think it would make a beautiful terminal. I can actually type on it really, really well. I can type up better on that thing than I could on this thing.
Because you can have SSH, you can SSH into whatever the hell you want.
It could be a $500 SSH client.
Although,
but it's
I
magic.
do notice one thing when you're out and about with this thing. Mm-hmm. Not having the 3G is kind of a pain in the ass, because there's only so many McDonald's in the world.
Yeah. That's a shame on a whole nother level, but
just get a Wi-Fi. It'll solve everything.
Yeah, that's what Tom Merritt does with his iPhone, which I think is great. He's got the AT&T iPhone, but it's just tethered to the Verizon Wi-Fi because there's actually a service on Verizon.
If you want to go that far, you can just drop the cell phone plan, get the Wi-Fi, and then just speak into the Skype client, and it'll be your giant iPhone. You can just forget.
You could rock 80 style, get the get the iPod interface going up, and Now, what I'm really interested in is the fact that they've got a $15 a month and $30 a month data plan. Those are really, really inexpensive. Black Rain, up on that, sync it up, get a little tethering going on, which
I forget it was G phone or something.
Yeah, anyway, we got tethering coming up soon too with the Droid and all sorts of fun stuff that's going to be in preparation of me not dying when I'm driving through Idaho. I don't even know where Idaho is, but I'm sure I'll go through it. That's what's coming up. And then, like I teased in the beginning of this ultra long A block, we are talking about the USB Ducky today in just a bit, right after Shannon's segment.
Not too long.
I'm going to throw it to Shannon here in just a moment, but first I want to remind you guys that if you want to pick up some Hak5 swag, we've got about 3 weeks left in the Hack House, and then it's Hak5 from the road. So, no, stop it. We talked about this last time.
Let's come down.
Alright, well.
Go away.
Okay. Well, anyway, stuff like this is ending up on eBay right now, so if you go to hak5.org/store, you'll see things like Acer Aspire 1s and other Hak5 goodies. Yeah, you could bludgeon someone with that. More of that coming up, but first, when it's time to rebuild your Windows box, nothing can be more annoying than trying to find that driver disk for that esoteric device, especially when that might be your Ethernet drivers. So here to save us from ourselves is Shannon with this week's Snubs Report, brought to you by GoToAssist Express.
On today's Snubs Report, I'll be showing you how to back up device drivers with just a few clicks. See, it's springtime, spring is in the air, yay! And all of us are thinking about spring cleaning. What better way than to reformat your Windows computer after being so sluggish over the wintertime? Of course, it's fairly simple. There's not much to it. You back up your documents and your bookmarks and you boot off your Windows CD and you start new after your format. Or is that all you have to do? Yeah, not so much. If you're anything like me, you've got tons and tons of USB gadgets lying all over the place. You've got your keyboard and your mouse and your iPod, and you've even got your USB Dalek webcam, which I have no clue where that CD is. So how am I going to get that driver? Oh, maybe I left it on the TARDIS with the doctor. Yeah, that would make sense. So this is where Double Driver comes in, which is the ultimate freeware driver backup tool. And I'm going to test it out today in the Hak5 Cloud Lab. See, luckily, even though I'm in Missouri and all I have right now for a computer is a Nokia booklet, I have access to a host of virtual servers specifically made for demonstration, like this, and demolition. So let's get started. I'm going to connect to my Windows computer that I want to reformat through GoToAssist Express. Now, just a second while I transfer over Double Driver. See, it's a portable app, and it can be run off of any kind of USB driver that you might have. You don't have to install anything, and luckily, operation is pretty straightforward. Click Scan to get a list of all the drivers loaded on the machine, You can see from this listing you've got the name of the driver, the version, the date, provider, and the class. So, you know, whether it's a USB driver, a keyboard, or a graphics card, whatever it might be. And by default, all of the Microsoft drivers aren't checked. These are already included on the Windows CD, so there's really no sense in backing them up. You can quickly select all Microsoft or non-Microsoft drivers from this drop-down. There we go. And now this printer is going to be backed up. So there's no need to go find the CD that you installed it with in the first place, and there's no need to go in search of the support website, which we all know it takes forever and a day to find the support website with the correct driver for your correct Windows version. Drives me crazy. Now we just click Backup and we specify a location to save our files. The desktop will work for now. I like to select Compressed Zip Folder to save space, and I leave Include Double Driver checked. So that means once I've formatted my computer and I've unzipped this file, not only will I find a copy of all of my drivers, but I'll also have a copy of Double Driver, which is going to save me tons and tons of time in the long run because it has this handy restore feature with it. So make sure to check that out. Alright, so Double Driver is backing up all my stuff. I'm going to click Close, close that, and now let's check out the file it created. Alright, so we've got our drivers neatly in their own folders, yay! And if I open up the included Double Driver program, and this time click Restore and OK to the prompt, there we go, a list of my drivers that are ready to be installed. Okay, click Restore, Reboot, Plug in, and have yourself a nice, refreshing, relaxing, mama's home-cooked sweet tea. So do you have any thoughts for me, or do you want me to check out a different kind of tool? Make sure to email me at feedback@hak5.org. Also make sure to check out revision3.com/GoToAssist Express for other tips, tools, and reviews kind of like this one. And on that note, I'd like to thank our sponsor, GoToAssist Express, for making this Snubs Report possible. If you're in technical support, you know how much time you waste just getting to a customer or colleague's computer. Great news! The new GoToAssist Express remote support brought to you by Citrix lets you resolve issues faster, reduce travel costs, and keep clients satisfied so you can move to the next task more quickly without leaving your office. Try GoToAssist Express free for 30 days. For this special offer, you must visit gotoassist.com/hak5. That's gotoassist.com/HAK5 for a free trial.
Find more great tips like these at revision3.com/GoToAssist Express. So you may remember back in 06 when we demonstrated a new tool called the USB Switchblade, which essentially made compromising Windows machines a breeze when it comes to physical access. You see, it took advantage of a feature in Windows that basically allowed auto-run code to happen on optical media. And this specially crafted SanDisk Cruiser had just that. It had a U3 partition, which was essentially a CDFS partition, and we could reflash it and specially craft it to silently run our own code located on the read-write partition. And it was a great hack. It garnered a lot of attention, a lot of development. It was even, well, mimicked by Microsoft in their forensics tool, Coffee. And fortunately or unfortunately, the hole was plugged in recent versions of Windows. No longer does code automatically execute from optical media without a little bit of user intervention. It's a shame though. I mean, if only we had a device that we could just plug into a computer and make shit happen. Well, we do. In fact, it's something that I've been working on for a little over a year, and this tool has been a long time coming. In fact, I actually hinted quite a bit about it in Season 5, Episode 3. That's the program that comes with the chip when you first, get it in the mail and plug it in via USB. Okay? That's another very important thing about this board. While a lot of other Arduino-like boards may use USB to interface with the computer, what happens is that they use a USB to serial chip on the board itself that'll actually translate it to like 38400, I forget the baud rate, anyway, to serial. This is an actual USB device. It shows up as a USB human interface device, and that's how we can listen to its output and write stuff to it and all sorts of fun stuff. So that's kind of an interesting and neat feature that we will take a much closer look at in a future segment. Yes, the human interface device aspect of the TNC is quite interesting. As you might have guessed, programming him, it's actually not that difficult. You know, he is just an Arduino essentially, so we can use the Arduino IDE and C code. And what makes it truly unique is the fact that it's a human interface device. So that means that we really could create a keyboard macro. Let me show you what I mean. Alright, so I'm at my unsuspecting computer here, and we're going to go ahead and just for a moment plug the Ducky in. So, pop it right here into the USB. What was that? Actually, let's take a look again in slow motion. And what you can see here is it's sending the key presses Windows key R to pull up the run menu, and then CMD, enter, and then we've got a command prompt. Now, of course, this demo one, all it does is flush my DNS cache. But you're at the command prompt. You know, Bob's your uncle. Have fun. Now, something interesting to know here is that it's just typing as fast as the computer will recognize it. So, you know, it all happens in like the blink of an eye. And as you can imagine, you know, you might need to put some delays here or there depending on the speed of the computer and stuff like that. But it's super, super fast because it's one computer talking to another. So possibilities are endless. You can spew key presses as fast as the USB bus. And what's really beautiful about this is it's cross-platform. Okay, I'm in Windows here, sure. Love to edit in this in Premiere, but also loving the Ubuntu and Mint. And yes, I can tell you, it works. It also works on a Mac because it's just a human interface device. That's the most beautiful thing. It is totally cross-platform. And it's also not just a keyboard. It can be used to emulate mouse clicks as well. So you could actually tell an absolute position like 1, 1 for the very top left corner of a Mac. And what would you be clicking if you clicked in the very top left corner of a Mac? Anyway, you Mac guys probably know the special key presses to really have a lot more fun, and that's why this will be open. And the other interesting thing is that it cannot easily be stopped. You see, this right here has like a USB identifier of just, you know, regular HID, right? Well, you can also program it to be, I don't know, a Microsoft keyboard, a Logitech keyboard, or whatever you want. And what's really interesting about that is that unless IT departments are going to suddenly stop, you know, suddenly start limiting the use of USB keyboards, then there's no antivirus for this. There's no, aside from, you know, super glue and the USB port, not a whole lot preventing it at the moment, which is really cool because I love physical security. The other thing to keep in mind, and you may remember this from, I think, late season 5, we did a little bit of brute forcing remote desktop protocol. And if you recall, we were talking about how after so many attempts, you're going to get locked out, and that's just how the default policies are in Windows. However, beautiful little feature there, Windows Server isn't going to lock an administrator out from trying to log in as administrator after so many tries if it is at the local keyboard. The other interesting thing is, and you might have experienced something like this yourself, is when you boot up and you're at the login screen, you're like building a new machine or something, you're like typing on the keyboard, nothing's happening, you're like, oh, I forgot to plug the USB cable in. Nice, because we don't have to reboot like back in the PS2 days, if you remember that. But you just plug in your USB keyboard, and before you're even in the operating system, it's like, oh yeah, sure, USB keyboard, come on in. What damage could you do? How fast could you type administrator, tab, a password, enter, and, you know, 20 go to 10. You get the idea. So couple that with like a 32 gig SD card and a word list, or even just generated on the fly, and well, if you've got some time to kill, you've got a potential solution there for a little local brute forcing. And it's not limited just to like a Windows Server 2003 box either. You could do the same thing to a BIOS or many different systems. So it's very versatile in that regard. Now, using a dip switch, you could easily program the device to deliver multiple payloads depending on the switch configuration. For example, like a 5-way dip switch will give you 32 different options. So maybe a couple for Windows to do something like opening back doors, installing interpreters, stealing documents. Or on the other hand, you could write a payload that fixes printer configurations, resets firewall settings, or connects to network shares. If you've worked in network administration like myself, you know that it can be a pain to have to go to someone's desk to fix a problem. So why not automate it? Of course, this project doesn't end here. With the little beta code, we've got the workings of a file system driver, which basically means that with a bit of soldering, a micro SD card could be fitted to the device. That means a couple of things. First off, rather than having to recompile the code every time you wanted to change the keystrokes for a payload, a simple file could be written and loaded onto the card. Second, it means that we could potentially copy executables to the target machine rather than having to rely on downloading from an FTP, which would set off IDS alarms. If you ever come to a Colonial Williamsburg, you gotta go to the cheese shop. The sandwiches are epic. And since I'm only gonna be here for 3 weeks, I gotta get myself a sandwich. Now, I know what you're thinking. At first, why a USB Rubber Ducky? Well, if you've learned anything from Hak5 over the years, it is that pineapples, monkeys, they aren't always what they seem. Second, you're probably wondering, where can I get one? Where can I get the turnkey solution? And unfortunately, it's just not available yet. And to be honest, I am a horrible programmer. If you don't believe me, go back to the first season and take a look at some of my PHP segments. You'll know what I'm talking about. But that got me thinking, well, you guys are excellent coders. And then the USB Switchblade project just ballooned because of so much community development of it. I mean, soon after coming out with just the Switchblade itself, I came out with my own payload, the USB Hacksaw, which used a modified version of USB dumper to steal data from USB drives plugged into a machine and then silently email them back to an anonymous account. And there's been so much more. There's been, Gonzor, U3 Hacker, Sable Fox, all coming up with awesome payloads like the Pocket Knife or even the incident response payload for forensics investigators. So I'd like to kickstart this project, and here's what I've got in mind. Basically, I've got a special board set up on the Hak5 forums for the USB Rubber Ducky, as well as a wiki coming online, and I have 100 dev kits ready to go. So all you have to do is go to hak5.org/I-wanna-develop for the Ducky, and go ahead and fill out the form, tell me about your programming experience, C, Arduino, embedded, whatever. If you want to get in on this, just specify an address, international, domestic, whatever, and I'll go ahead and ship one out to you freezies. Yeah, how's that for crowdsourcing?
This week's trivia is, this concept, theorizing that the universe and time are cyclical rather than linear, linking both Peter Pan and Battlestar Galactica, was adopted by the ancient Egyptians. Bonus points for relating Stephen Hawking's arrow of time with the jelly bean theory. Enter for your chance to win Pronobozo's new album, Hak5, by submitting your answer to hak5.org/trivia. And now, a brief word from our sponsor.
When you need web hosting without compromise, look no further than virtual private servers from domain.com. Get guaranteed RAM and bandwidth on an isolated virtual container with, get this, your own dedicated IP address and root access. They've got ping times like none other, and let me tell you, they're super easy to manage with Plesk or cPanel and WHM web front ends. We're so confident with our Linux and Windows VPS services, we've put our very own hak5.org up on their cloud. Plans start at just $34.95 a month, and tech-savvy Hak5 fans get a smooth discount of 15% off when they check out with coupon code HAK5. Support your favorite podcast and get 15% off at domain.com when you check out with code HAK5. Got a great idea? It all starts with a great domain. Domain.com.
Hey guys, today we got a really cool piece of hardware, not software, hardware called the Nano Note. It's this little tiny computer. And when I say tiny, it's tiny. So, but it packs a pretty good punch. It has cool stuff. First of all, when I opened it up, the keyboard was pretty awesome. With big hands, it was actually pretty easy to thumb after, being used to the iPhone all the time. So the other cool things in here is has a MIPS processor, which is like pretty standard across the board for packages and stuff. There's tons of packages out from this right now. Comes with OpenWRT installed with BusyBox and Apache already on there, or I think Apache already on there. Has a 336 megahertz processor. Decent, it'll do good. The cool thing is it has 2 gigs of space on here, which is unheard of on a router or a Yassiger even. So you got tons of space, and it's even expandable with the SDHC. Bam! Alright, there we go. The SDHC slot. So it has headphone jack, speaker, mic. Nope, I turned it on. It has, what else does it have? 32 megs of RAM. Alright, but I'm really excited about this one portion, a USB slot. Now I don't know if it's host mode, it does host mode or not. It is micro USB, so I gotta find a micro USB to micro USB cable. It shouldn't be hard. So when you plug the USB into a Windows box or a Linux box, it does a USB Ethernet adapter. So what happens is you can network your Nano Note Bro with your computer and actually transfer packages around, which is cool. I just wish that this was a better cable, I guess. So the other cool thing, I got a 1 gig SDHC in here, and now I have 3 gigs of space to store on this thing. And I'm sure there's what, 8 gigs out there. So you know, there's a lot that can be done with this thing. QI-hardware.com is where you get it, but a lot more to come. This is the Nano Note by QI Hardware, and I'm Mubix, and we'll see you later.
Squarespace is a publishing system for anyone looking to build a blog, portfolio, or any kind of website. Squarespace offers a uniquely flexible tool for just about anyone with no coding experience required to build high-end, complex websites with the same kind of functionality that you would find on some of the highest traffic websites on the web. I know because I put hackacrossamerica.com up on Squarespace and it took me just a few minutes. Squarespace launched a new site importer tool that also makes it so easy to move over. So give it a try at squarespace.com and get your 14-day free trial. And if you decide you like the service, sign up with code HAK5 and get 10% off the life of your service.
Do you think you got the Technoless like Andrew N with his custom EPC holster? Awesome, wicked cool, totally cool. Make sure to send us all of your pictures at feedback@hak5.org. And make sure to subscribe on iTunes and YouTube, and follow us on Twitter and Facebook. And now is a perfect time to go shopping on the Hack Shop for everything from hats to stickers to t-shirts to even our Wi-Fi pineapple with free shipping worldwide. And if you have any kind of topics that you want to suggest for an upcoming episode, email us again at feedback@hak5.org. Until next week, I'm Shannon Morris, and make sure to trust your Technoless.
I mean, I love not having to put the mic on, but it is a little echoey on that microphone.
Is that recording?
Twitter.
He's gonna dance while I'm gonna grab my laptop.
Neo Geo. 4 bright buttons with 2 joysticks.